Howdy, Immortallium here, and it's been a while since I've done a manga haul now, hasn't it? If I'm correct, I think the last one I did was in August. I like to do large orders of manga, read them through, and then, order my next lot. So it's been a while, but yeah, here's my next manga haul for, well, a while. Let's start off with something that I guess I'm a little ashamed of. Not too much so, but a little, and that is, I'm not sure how many of you remember this. I've gained a lot of new subscribers over the course of this year. And that is, around the beginning of this year, I think I made a kind of a New Year's resolution to catch up to the series. And I'm sad to say that I'm gonna fail that. It's, it's clear as day to me. And what series could I be talking about but Naruto? So, because of the fact that it's finishing this year, in fact it's finishing, when is it finishing now actually, come to think of it? I think it's the 10th of October, I think, is the final, release in Japan of the chapter. So, yeah, I was hoping to catch up to Naruto during this year to kind of celebrate that fact, but I've been kind of focusing on other stuff, so I'm going to fail that. But I thought in the last manga haul of this year, I would, do my best to, kind of help rectify that a bit. So, what did I get? I got volume 34, I got volume 35, I got volume 36, I got volume 37, volume 38, volume 39, volume 40, volume 41, volume 42, volume 43, which is actually quite a fat one, volume 44, volume 45, volume 46, volume 47, and volume 48. So, yeah, I've caught up a bit more, a significant bit more actually. I remember near the beginning of this year, I think all I had was the first 15 volumes of Naruto. So, I have gotten significantly closer. That's the best way to put it. But I'm still haven't got quite there yet. Actually, I just remembered, just one moment. This is something pretty cool that came in one of the volumes, and that is actually a Naruto trading card. Only came with the first volume, first printing of that volume. Which kind of surprised me because Naruto sells really well, so I would have thought by now the Book Depository would have gotten through all of their first printings. But apparently not. So anyway, it is Sakura on the cover, and even though I don't play the Naruto trading card game, and I don't intend to, simply because it's a money sink, there's better trading card games out there, etc, etc, I certainly won't say no to getting a collectible card, because it does look very nice, and I'm very happy to have it. It's something for my still very small collectible section, like action figures, badges, etc, etc. So anyway, after that, I'm actually gonna show you now I've done a significant expansion on my Shonen Sunday. If you're not familiar, I'll just quickly explain this for people who are not familiar with what Shonen Sunday is. Basically, there are 3 major manga magazines in Japan. Shonen Jump, which everyone knows of. Shonen Magazine, which is published by Kodansha. There's some popular series in that. Fairy Tail would be the one that probably most people would be familiar with. I'm trying to recall other series from it, but none pop to mind right now. And then there's Shonen Sunday, which is published by Shogakukan. Now, Shueisha and Shogakukan both have, large amount of shares in Viz Media, but as people know, Viz Media have been focusing very heavily on Shonen Jump, because that's what sells the best. But recently they've decided to do a bit of a push to try to get more kind of Shonen Sunday recognition, and, the Shonen Sunday titles selling a bit better. So, I've decided now that I will actually expand. I guess, as well, it just happened that I was really wanted to continue and get these series. So anyway, let's start off with the largest amount of Shonen Sunday I got, and that is Cross Game. Oh, now, Cross Game, I read the first omnibus of it, which is a 3-in-1, and I was enormously impressed with it, just absolutely amazed at it. Very strong characters, strong drama, some great comedy scenes, strong artwork, great paneling, etc., etc. I was enormously impressed. Even though it's about baseball, I'm not really into sports at all. I didn't need to know anything about baseball to get it. I just really got it. It's a really good series from what I've read so far. So I decided, you know, what the hell, I would get Volume 2, which each one of these now is a 2-in-1, just to tell you. Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, and the final volume, Volume 8. So, yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to reading this series because I was enormously impressed with that, you know, first volume. Anyway, after that, we have the Ranma half omnibuses. I've read the first 2 omnibuses of Ranma half already, and I thought it was one of the funniest things I'd read in a long, long time. It was just, like the premise of it, about the fact that the main character is a girl when cold water is poured on him, and then when hot water is poured on him, it becomes a guy. You know, that's just comedy gold right there. And Rumiko Takahashi just took it, you know, to another level. Plus, I wanted to expand on my Rumiko Takahashi section anyway. She's the best-selling female graphic artist ever. And, you know, her influence on manga has been enormous, you know, with her various really popular series. You know, like Ranma half, for instance, Meisani Koku, Urusei Yatsura, is that another one? Inuyasha, as most people know. And then some other stuff like the Rumic Theatre, One Pound Gospel, etc., etc. So I just wanted to expand on my Rumiko Takahashi, really, but just so happens that this is a Shonen Sunday title as well. You know, I'm really looking forward to checking out more Ranma half, and here is the only new series of Shonen Sunday that I got, and that is Case Closed. Now, most people will know this by its original Japanese name instead, and that is Detective Conan. Now, Detective Conan is a very long-running manga series. I believe in Japan it's up to its 80s now, is it, in volumes? In English, it's only up to its 50s. It hasn't done that catch-up thing yet, and it probably won't do that catch-up thing that the, you know, One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach did. That's because those series had a lot of demand behind it. Case Closed doesn't have that much demand behind it, although I am pleased to say that all 3 of these volumes I got, have had multiple printings, so it does seem to sell. I'd be very curious to see the sales figure on the more newer volumes, considering the length, but at least these volumes sold pretty well. Anyway, one thing I want, they had to change the name, that's the point, because apparently the name Conan was taken in America already for some reason. Not Conan the Barbarian, if that's what you're thinking. It was some other Conan. I can't remember exactly who it was, but they had the copyright on the name Conan. So they had to change it to Case Closed. Now, I will say one thing that made me happy, though, was this little bit here. Now, I'm not exactly sure if you can see it, but even though I can't read the kanji that's at the very beginning of it, I can read the katakana, which is Conan, the name here. So I believe that's actually the Japanese title, Detective Conan. So I think by simply having that on the cover, they're acknowledging the fact that it is actually Detective Conan is the title. It's just done in a different language. So, you know, I think that does something. One other thing I want to point out as well is that this cover put me off for quite a while. Simple reason is if you look at the cover, it looks like a kid's manga. And even though I knew it was a shonen manga, I don't know, this cover just put me off for a long, long time. I'm sure it's put off a lot of other people from checking it out. But from what I've taken a flick through this, and it's actually quite violent, actually. It's certainly not aimed at children, I can guarantee you. I'm willing to check this out, and in fact, actually, I intend, once I've read all 3 of these volumes, I'll just, this is volume 1, this is volume 2, and this is volume 3. I intend to do a first impressions video, just to, you know, give my opinion on, you know, what I think of it, whether I want to continue it, etc., etc. It's a really significant manga series, so I definitely want to actually try it out at the very least. And, yeah, that's all my Shonen Sunday stuff. After that, my, oh yeah, here's another one actually. This is continuing on what might become my favourite shoujo series. I'm not 100% sure on that yet, but it is getting there, and that is Nana. Now, I'm taking my time with Nana, just to tell you, because the fact that the artist, Aizawa, who also does the story, she's the mangaka, she apparently had something really bad happen to her wrist. Like, I don't know exactly the details behind it, but her wrist got damaged, and you know, she was in hospital for a long time. She was discharged, was it 2013 or something? And she hasn't been able to get back the manga yet. Now, she has kind of been working herself back. Like, she's done, like, she did a 2-page kind of manga thing recently enough. And she's steadily working back, but people don't know whether or not she will continue on Nana. Now, Nana is one of the best-selling shoujo manga of all time, so I will assume that at some point she will come back to it. But because of all that reason, because of the fact it's on hiatus right now, I'm not in a rush to finish it off. So, but anyway, I'm just going to take my time with it. So I got Volume 7, and got Volume 8. This one I want to point out, Volume 9 is a really fat one. I mean, let me just show you the difference in width, for example. And it just point out the normal volume of Nana is the kind of standard, you know, manga length, you know, about 180 to 190 pages. Volume 9, it's about 260 pages. It's a real fat one. And finally, Volume 10. So I'll have gotten 10 volumes of Nana read by that point. Now, I do think there's 21 volumes of Nana in total. So I do still have a bit of a distance to go, but as I said, I'm just going to take my time and, you know, savor it, you know, because there won't be any new Nana for a long, long time. Anyway, after that, I've been wanting to expand my Clamp collection even more so. And considering, you know, the look, like, I took a look at some unboxings of this online, and it just looked really beautiful, these omnibuses, so I decided to continue it on. And that is, I got the Tokyo Babylon omnibuses. So here's the first one, as you can see, and here is the second one, which is actually, interestingly, the second one is a lot thicker than the first one, so I just want to point that out. Now, Tokyo Babylon, I believe it was their third manga, and actually it's set in the same universe as another manga of theirs, X. I believe Tokyo Babylon ends on a kind of a very open note, and I believe what they did then, I'm trying to recall, they either did a live-action film or they did an anime series, I can't recall, which kind of expanded on the ending of the manga, but manga-wise, Clamp ended up going into X, so X is, you know, their continuation. Speaking of hiatuses, X is on hiatus. Now, why exactly? I think there was some controversy over it. I'm not 100% sure. But my overall point is I haven't wanted to start X yet because of the fact that I haven't read Tokyo Babylon. Now, interestingly, Tokyo Babylon is published by Dark Horse, as you can see, whereas X is published by Viz Media. So I'm not exactly sure the reasons behind that. But I do think it's quite interesting. Anyway, as far as I can tell, Dark Horse have done a bang-up job on this. And oddly enough, they've chosen... Like, this is one thing that I find kind of weird. And that is Dark Horse's Clamp omnibuses keep kind of alternating in trim size. I mean, I have Chobits. I believe that they're... what's it called? Magic Knight Rare is also the same size, trim size Chobits, and of and Angelic Glare, which I have, which is about standard, you know, Dark Horse size, which is like kind of standard Japanese tankobon size. So it's a bit smaller, trim size wise than, you know, Viz Media, Tokyo Bob, Beyond Press, etc., Kodansha. But then for these other omnibuses, like for example Clover, for example Cardcaptor Sakura, for Tokyo Babylon, they have the larger trim size. So I'm not exactly sure what the reason is behind those varying trim sizes, and I wish that they'd all just stick to this, you know, bigger size, because the one thing you can say about Clamp is that even if some of their stories are a bit iffy, their artwork is always really pleasant to look at. So I wish they'd just keep the larger trim size. Anyway, it looks like Tokyo Babylon looks, you know, great from as far as I can tell from Dark Horse's treatment. Now, continuing on my very slow but steady increase in my light novel collection, I've gotten the first two novels of Spice and Wolf. Now, I've seen the 2 seasons of the anime of Spice and Wolf, and I enjoyed it a lot. But what's really annoying is that second season ends on a cliffhanger and there is no season 3. I've been waiting for a while. There's literally no sign of a season 3. I think they're just going to end at season 2 for some reason. I decided, hey, I'm just going to continue on with the light novels. The light novels I hear are better than the anime. As hard as it is to imagine for some people, considering how good the anime can be. But I hear it's better. And, you know, I think there's 17 volumes of, you know, the light novel in Japan. I think Yen Press recently got up to, like, it was like either 11 or 13 or something like that. So Yen Press are actually pretty close now to the Japanese releases. So I'm definitely eager to check these out. They're pretty short as well, and they have a large kind of font size. So it won't take me that long to read. After that, I'm just going to show this one. Was a surprise for size, and that is the first and one of only 2 of the Cent Manga line, Last of the Mohicans. Now, before I start talking about this at all, the one thing I really want to point out is the trim size. The other one that I got was Mysterious Underground Men, and just take a look at the difference in trim size between them, because I'd heard that Last of the Mohicans was bigger, but I had no idea how much bigger. Take a look. Huge, like a huge increase in size. So that really surprised me. Now I do know that the whole purpose behind the Cent Manga line is to make it as authentic to the original release as possible. So I know Mysterious Underground Men was originally released like that. It had the same color paper, although not the same quality. When I say that, the quality that they used for this release was far better than the original release. Last of the Mohicans, again, they use a different type of paper and a different kind of colorization. Like, I mean, it's not kind of pitch black, it's more almost a purple tint to the black, so I could say. The artwork's really funky as well, which is nice. I've heard it's, you know, it's very odd in that it goes from cartoony 1 minute to realistic the next. And actually, realistic characters are can be on the same panel as the cartoony characters, so it's really weird. The one thing that I've heard people really disappointed about with this release was the fact that this is the 1960s version, I think it's 1960s, remake of the original Last of the Mohicans manga, which was released in the 1950s. A lot of people would have preferred to have gotten the 1950s version, yeah, the 1950s version, instead of the 1960s version, but we were given the 1960s version, and to be honest, you know, this is, you know, a bang-up release from Picture Box as far as I can tell. So, you know, it even has that big essay at the back. Now, it doesn't look as comprehensive as the Tezuka one, but that's to be expected. So, yeah, I'm very happy with this, and I will be doing a review of it as soon as I read it, which might be a while. I don't know. We'll see. And this is a little different now to what my how my manga hauls generally go. At this point, I'm actually going to put a just say it's a spoiler warning. What do I mean by that? Basically, this manga haul, I got the titles that I'm going to be reading in the 24-hour Manga Marathon. If you're not familiar with what I mean by the 24-hour Manga Marathon, I'm going to include a link in the description to the video that I did. Basically, it explains how, you know, from December to January, that there's going to be manga marathons going on. It can be 24 hours, 12 hours, possibly 6 hours, but 6 hour slots you'd have to contact me. And there's certain categories, you have to select the categories, etc, etc. And this next lot, I'm going to be showing the titles that I'll be, you know, reading during that. So if you do not want to see what titles I'll be reading then, if you would prefer it to be a surprise for when you actually watch my 24-hour manga marathon, you know, we should end. You know, you should probably just end it off here. So I'm just gonna say to those people, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and bye bye. For the rest of you folks who stick around and don't mind getting spoiled, we'll continue on. So the last thing I'll say just before I actually move into the manga is, if you could, you know, you can comment on these titles, of course, but maybe keep them vague. Don't mention title names. Just maybe just say, you know, oh, that title, you know, so and so. I don't know. Just keep it maybe vague so that people who chose not to go beyond this point won't get spoiled. That's the best way to put it. Anyway, let's start off with the manga title that I had no interest in. This title has been recommended to me a lot online, and actually it's been really popular in Japan recently. The anime, the anime version of it's getting huge ratings, like generally like the most mainstream ratings that they get, and yeah, it's really popular right now, but it just looks the most cliche shonen ever. So I just have no interest in picking up, and I don't know when I would ever have picked it up. I probably would never have picked it up if it wasn't for the fact that I have a category of manga that I have no interest in. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the 7 Deadly Sins manga. I got the first 2 volumes. I will read the first 2 volumes during the Manga Marathon. You will hear my opinion of what I think about it. But, you know, I just took a quick flick through it just to see what the artwork looks like. The art looks kind of mediocre, that's the best way to put it. And the story itself looks about as cliche shonen as it gets. So I'm suspecting I won't like it, but you never know. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. I don't know. But my point is I had no interest in checking this manga out at all. After that, I'm going to be doing a Josei category, which is Insufficient Direction by Mayoko Ano. Now, if you're not familiar with Insufficient Direction or Mayoko Ano is the wife of Hideaki Anno. Hideaki Anno being the guy who created Neon Justice Evangelion, one of the founders of Gainax, etc., etc. And the thing is, unlike a lot of people who are involved in the anime industry right now, he is actually a massive otaku. Like, he just loves anime and manga and all that jazz. Mayoko Ano, who is a manga artist, she's a bit more tame in that regard. So this is kind of a semi-autobiographical kind of account of you know, their relationship. It's done comedically. Mayoko Ano is represented by this almost like baby-looking thing, although the baby says she's 30 years old, which kind of makes sense. So that's, yeah, I guess it seems slightly creepy. Anyway, Hideaki Anno is represented by this guy who looks very much like the stereotypical otaku. And the thing is, this actually got a anime adaptation recently. I think it was like 5-minute shorts. I haven't heard many people talking about it, so I'm not sure how successful the anime version of it was, but it did get an anime version. And a lot of people, I remember when this came out, a lot of people were saying that they were amazed that this even got translated at all. And the reasoning for that is it's almost incomprehensible to a lot of people. Basically, there are so many references to you know, various anime, manga, series relation things. The whole annotations at the back explaining all of the references that, you know, Hideaki Anno makes, etc., etc. It's this thick. I would say it looks to be about at least 20 pages, if not more than 20 pages, of explanation, of explaining, you know, everything. And like, I took a flick through. I get a decent amount of the references, but there are a lot of references that even I don't get in this. So, you know, it'll be a very educational experience for me, just because I always find it very fascinating about how different Japanese otaku are in comparison to Western otaku. Japanese otaku, since they have access, you know, to all of the manga and anime, etc., etc., even though the anime is enormously pricey, generally their interests range over a much longer period of time. They'll be a lot more knowledgeable about, you know, 80s anime and manga, 70s anime and manga, etc., etc. So, you know, it'll be quite fascinating to read this. What'll be more interesting will be to see if I actually find it funny. And the artwork is, you know, pretty good. It's a different art style in comparison to Mayoko Anno's other works. The only other thing I've read from Mayoko Anno is a manga called Sakura, of which I've done a review. And the artwork looks night and day different. Like, it's the super deformed style for an Insufficient Direction. So that'll be interesting. The other category that I'll be doing then is the Shigeru Mizuki category, with the Onward Towards Our Noble Debt. Yes, this is from, how can I describe it now? Shigeru Mizuki, he is a very famous mangaka in Japan, and actually quite well known in various other countries, mainly for this thing, what is it, Go-Go Kataro? Go-Go Kataro? Is that what it's called? I don't know. Basically, it's considered one of the best yokai manga ever, and actually it has gotten an English release, but it's a best of, which has kind of put me off of getting that. But one of the more interesting things, one of the things I find fascinating about Shigeru Mizuki is that he actually lost his arm, like one of his arms. I can't remember which one, I think it might have been his left, I don't know, during World War II. So all of the manga he does one-handed. Which I find amazing. Like, I mean, like, just consider how difficult it must be to make manga in general with two hands, let alone one. And this is, again, a semi-autobiographical manga about his experiences during World War II. He's very bitter about it. He really doesn't, you know, approve of how Japan handled that war, etc., etc. So, you know, this will be a really interesting thing to read. And I hear it's a superb manga, so... You know, it looks like a beautiful edition from Drawn and Quarterly. Actually, I think this might be the first manga I gotten from Drawn and Quarterly, so that'll be very interesting. After that, for my manga started before the 1990s, I am going to be doing a horror classic. Basically, I was in a used bookstore the other day, and I got the second volume of Drifting Classroom for very cheap. So I decided in this order that I would order the first and third volume of The Drifting Classroom, a horror classic from the 1970s. Now the interesting thing is that this is actually a Shonen Sunday title. This was published in Shonen Sunday in the 70s. But I guess because of the fact that it has violence in it, blood, etc., etc., it is a horror title. It's rated for mature. Viz decided to put it under their signature, you know, category. Now, even so, it's just a normal tankobon size. They haven't made it the same size as their other signature releases, oddly enough. But so I will be putting this beside my other Shonen Sunday titles instead of my signature titles, simply because it was published in Shonen Sunday. And I know that's a bit weird, but that's how it goes. And for my final lot of manga, this one is almost embarrassing, actually. Basically, I'm going to be doing the yaoi title, and what I ended up getting was Crimson Spell, which has gotten... Okay, let me describe it now. Crimson Spell, I first came across in an issue of Neo, and it got a really positive review in that, and I checked it out online, and it got enormously positive reviews from almost all of the sources I came across. There were a couple of reviews that's, you know, called it mediocre, but the majority of them were overwhelmingly positive. Not only that, this has done enormously well on the New York manga bestseller list. Like, it just exceptionally well. Because this got a release several years back from another manga company, but then they went out of business or they stopped releasing or something like that, I don't know. And this got picked up by Viz in their Sublime, you know, how can I put it, imprint. So yeah, the manga that volumes of this that didn't get released by the previous company are selling really, really well. But there is one thing that I did not expect about this now, and I took a flick through this, and the artwork looks really nice. It looks interesting. But there's actually, it's so uncomfortable to talk about. We actually see the two guys having sex, and when I say you know, we see it, we see everything. It's actually we see them actually everything. We see like, I don't want to describe it too much, of course, but we see them. We see all the details. That's the best way to put it. And I was not expecting that. I was expecting, you know, kissing, hugging, all that jazz, but not. And of course, you know, sex, but maybe a lot more tamer. But we actually see everything. Everything. So technically, I guess I could put this under a hentai manga thing, but I'm still gonna put it under the yaoi. Now, the only thing I want to point out then is Kaka. If you're watching this portion of the video, you know, he's a great friend of mine. You made an offer to me before on the manga video, manga announcement video, about the hentai manga, that you would do it if I did it. And even though this, I'm going to put under yaoi, it is, I guess, technically a hentai manga, I don't know. So if you want that now, you know, get a hentai as well, I don't know. But anyway, that's one of the more uncomfortable manga I got now. I'm still going to read it, I'm still going to try it, simply because of how overwhelmingly positive all the reviews of it have been. So, I'm still going to try it, and if I find it really not good at all, I'm just simply not going to continue it on. That's it, you know. Don't ever say that I don't try new things. I mean, this will be a new experience and a half right for me, that one. So, if nothing else, check out my 24-hour Manga Marathon video when it comes up, simply to see my opinion of this. You know, that's something. So anyway, that's all the manga I've gotten. It'll keep me going for a while. A lot of it is actually shonen, but I guess that's because of the fact I want to catch up on Naruto, I want to expand my Shonen Sunday, etc, etc. And I definitely did get some different titles, in particular that last one. So yeah, definitely if you haven't checked out my Manga Marathon announcement video, there is a link in the description. Check it out, consider participating, and if you don't want to participate, just check out the videos made around that time. And I'm going to leave it off there. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself, you found this informative, etc, etc. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and bye bye.